welcome to a yin practice that is, I think of it as one to do after your holidays, even if we've just done it in class and it was a bank holiday, so it's just a long weekend, but any time when you've been relaxing more, your energy levels have dropped a bit, you've been sitting more, and it's going to be a little bit of everything. We're going to do some work on the neck and shoulders, we're going to do some leg work, some work for the back body and a stretch for the front body, so it's a little bit of everything, and also a little bit and some twisting, and that's going to kind of lift your energy levels, and stretching out for the sides of the body, so a little bit of everything. And how I suggest that you do these yin videos, because yin yoga is not really concerned about muscle, it's all about the connective tissue and the fascia that wrap around your muscles and on all your organs. And we get to that by staying in the poses, being still and staying for like much longer periods of time. But because it's corrective, a lot of this work is for recovering from an injury as well. It's to correct imbalances in your body, find out where you're holding stress and tension in your body, and be able to release that and balance everything out. So for me, when I do a yin practice, I need to be able to spend longer on the side of my body that's more challenging and that needs more work. So for you to be able to do that, this is the way that I've recorded the video, is that you can watch the video first if you need to. So it's much shorter because we're not holding the poses. We're going to come into each pose. I'm going to talk you through how to get into it, what the benefits are of each pose. And then when you do the practice, if you make sure that you've got a timer, and then once you've got into the pose and you've listened to me talk you into it, you can pause the video, you can hit your timer, and you can decide how long you stay in the pose. And that also means that you've got more flexibility in terms of how long you've got to practice. So you might decide not to stay in the poses for like 6 minutes, you might decide to stay in them for 2 or 3 minutes and still do all of the poses. And the last thing, I'm going to start in a minute, is once you do the practice and you set yourself up to do the practice, you're going to need some cushions, maybe a couple of blankets, some bricks or blocks, or you can use like a stack of books. Put some nice music on, maybe light an incense stick like I've done, or use an oil diffuser, but make it as relaxing as you can. Try and pick a time when you're not going to get disturbed or distracted too often, so you can really soak up all the benefits of this kind of practice. So to begin with, you can spend a little bit of time getting yourself nice and relaxed and focusing on your breath a little bit, depending on what you've been doing before you got on your mat. We're going to go straight into it because you've already been sat for a while I've been talking. So if you're okay and comfortable crossing your ankles, you can just switch the cross of your ankles. You can use bricks or cushions to prop yourself up so that your legs are relaxed. That's the whole point. So your hips can be relaxed. Or if this position is really not comfortable for you, you can come and kneel and maybe put something underneath here, maybe even a stack of things, so that you can sit comfortably to do this first pose. So I'm just going to stay like this so that I'm not having to come back into that position. But this is one for the neck. So we're going to stretch out the whole of the right side of the neck and into the shoulder. So you're going to take your left hand to your right ear, you're going to drop your left shoulder down away from your ear, but then you're not going to pull your head down, we don't want to do that. You're just going to use the weight of your hand and then maybe more of the weight of your arm, and let this left ear drop towards your left shoulder as your left shoulder is dropping down away. And then you've a couple of different options with this hand. You might not want to do anything, you might be feeling plenty here and that's enough. just keep your hand resting on your thigh. Or you can reach your fingertips out without touching the floor, but it's as if you're reaching down and out to the side, as if you could touch the floor. Even if you can touch the floor, you're not going to, just going to reach. So this arm is quite active. You are going to use a fair bit of muscular energy in this right arm to do that one. Or you can take your hand behind your back. This is the one that I like. And that way you've got like a little bit more of a shoulder and chest opening as well. And I can still feel exactly the same amount of stretch in my neck and shoulders as when my arm is extended. So just find whatever suits you, and then set your timer. And this is not going to be one of the really long holds, so I'd say maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And to come out, you're going to release this back arm, and then keep your head in the same position. Take your left hand and bring it to the left side of your head, and use it to slowly lift your head back up. So there's no tweaking in your neck. And then you're going to switch and do the other side. So you're going to take your right hand to your left ear. Same thing, drop your right shoulder, then let the weight of your hand, and maybe if it feels okay, the weight of a bit more of your arm, and drop your right ear towards this right shoulder that's descending down. And then choose what you do with your arm, but do the same thing. So you're mirroring, if it's possible and accessible in your body, whatever you do on one side, mirror on the other side. So again, hit pause on your video, start your timer. Like for me, this is always my tighter side. So I would, in my own practice, stay a little bit longer on this side. So when you've worked all that out for yourself, you can adapt to this practice so that it's unique to you. It's your practice, and that's what it's all about. And then again, to come out, release, and slowly lift your head up. So you're just going to do some circles with your shoulders, a few times in each direction, just to make sure that everything's nice and loose and mobile in your neck and shoulders. And then from here, just going to drop your chin down, take your hands to the back of your skull, and just gently, again, just use the weight of your hands and your arms to create some traction through the back of your neck. And just make sure, just in case when you were doing those exercises, you were kind of throwing your head back a bit. Okay. So the next one that we're going to do is you're going to come and take a seat. So this is where it's really useful to prop yourself up if you're tight in the backs of your legs or in your spine, so that you can get your spine more upright, and it's much easier to do it. So from here, you're going to bring your left foot in toward and just let it gently touch your right leg. And again, this is a time when you can use props underneath your left knee to make it more comfortable if you're tight in your hips. And then from here, you're going to start to twist to the left. So I'm going to bring my right hand in front of my left leg and my left fingertips behind my left hip. And then before I go into the stretch, I'm just going to press down through my hands and inhale, lift my spine. So I come from a place of extension. And then exhale, using a little bit of core strength to get me into the twist to begin with. So I'm not going to my deepest twist. I'm going to wait, and I'm going to spend at least 3 minutes here. And if a little bit of space opens up, yes, I can move into it, but I'm trying to find a place that I can stay still for the whole of the time. And just think about, before you start your timer, what you want to do with your head. So you can drop your head down, and you could create some traction in the back of your neck. You can drop your left ear towards your left shoulder, which you know how to do now from the first pose. Or you can turn and just look down and over this left shoulder. See if you can find what is most comfortable for you. So in this particular pose, you're working on the gallbladder organ by stimulating the energy channels for that organ, and also your liver, kidney and liver with the inside of your leg, and then with the backs of your legs you're going to work through the urinary bladder energy channels, and just stay here for as long as it feels okay. And then you're going to slowly come out, and you're going to take your left foot to the outside of your right leg now. And then from here you're going to come into a counter twist, so you're just twisting the other way. So you're going to take your left hand somewhere on this left leg and your right fingertips behind. And the same thing, you can either drop your chin down, you can drop your opposite ear to the opposite shoulder, or you can turn and look over that right shoulder. So again, just spending a little bit of time getting into the pose, finding something that works for you. You need to have your timer nearby all the time, so you take it with you into the poses, and then you can just pause the video, start your timer, and you're away. And then from here you're going to slowly come back to face the center and come off your prop, and you're going to take your blanket and you can have it out across your mat, and bring your left knee onto the blanket, and I'm going to untuck my toes, and then I'm going to stretch my right leg out to the right. So it may be that you stay higher, so that you bring your hips over your knee, and then just see if you can sit back as much as this leg will allow you to, and then you can always bring your elbows onto a brick or onto a stack of bricks. And then if you can come a little bit deeper right from the beginning, you can sit back on this left heel. So now it becomes much more of a forward fold, and that again is going to work the urinary bladder energy channels. You're going back into the liver and kidney channels with the stretch on the inside of the leg. And again, just find what works for you. This is going to be a pretty long hold, maybe 5 or 6 minutes. So just find what works for you. Remember, don't come into your deepest stretch straight away. Just get comfortable, drop into the stillness, connect with your breath. So you're very aware of your inhale and your exhale, and you're trying to make them the same length. And that's going to calm your nervous system down. You don't need to do anything else other than that. That's all you need to do. And then be still. And then when you're finished with your timer, you're going to come back up, and I'm just going to take my blanket. I'm going to slide that leg in just while I make this adjustment. I'm going to take my blanket this way now, and it might be if you've got a really big blanket you don't need to adjust yourself, but I'm going to come back into that position, and then this time I'm going to take my left shoulder to the floor and rest the left side of my head on the blanket, and then I'm going to turn my right foot so the sole of my foot is on the floor. I'm going to adjust myself so that my hips are stacking definitely over my knee now. I'm leaning back. And then from here, I'm going to take my top arm around my back. Now, if you feel as though your balance is really challenged and you'll not be able to relax, just keep this right hand down on the floor
and for stability, and just do the pose here. So you've got the same energy channels that you're stimulating, but you've the added benefits of working with the lung and heart and small intestine meridians, or energy channels, that run through the arm. So you're doing it on this left side first, and also on your right side if you take your arm back, so you're stimulating those channels. But find something that you can relax into. So your head is heavy, your shoulders dropping down, your left knee, you're dropping some weight through there, your right shoulder's falling back. And I'm going to come out now. I want you to stay for maybe 5 or 6 minutes in this pose. If you find that you're not able to relax your shoulder down, increase the height, maybe use a brick as well underneath your head, and that way, even if your shoulder doesn't touch down, it's going to be nice and relaxed. Okay. And then from here, just slowly, and that's the other thing, in between the poses, when you transition in and out of the poses, you're going to do that really, really slowly. And that's one of the other things that you're going to do with this in this practice. So what I'm going to do is ask you to now repeat those poses on the other side. Okay, so it'll be right foot in, come into your twist, right foot over, come into your counter twist, and then back onto your knees, left leg out, either stay coming forwards or sit back onto your right heel, and then lift your hips up so that they're over this knee, turn, just let me see. So the first one, you're on your heel. Second version, you take the sole of your foot down, thread this arm through, and then choose what you're going to do with this other arm. Okay, brilliant. So then from there, we're going to do a stretch for the front of the torso. And you're going to come onto all fours, and again, you can have something underneath your knees, but you're going to try and keep your hips stacked over your knees, and that isn't as easy as it sounds because you can't actually see yourself. But you're going to walk your hands, get this brick ready, you're going to walk your hands out so that you've walked them out as far as you can without shifting the position of your hips. And then from there, you're going to start to just sink your chest down and position this brick so that you can bring your forehead onto the brick. Now I prefer, because I can have a lower level of prop and of support, I prefer to use a blanket because it's your forehead, and it's just feels a lot gentler. And you could even, if you're quite mobile in that area, bring your chest onto the blanket. So this is going to stretch out the stomach and spleen meridians, or energy channels that run along the front of your body. So stay here for, this will work. So it's with the yin, you have to mess about for a bit to find what really works for you. So I can get my chest and chin down, or chest and head down. Okay, but you're going to find out what's going to work for you. And again, pause, spend as much time as you can, and that is going to be just one, you're just doing that. That is a symmetrical pose that will not require you to find balance between one side of your body and the other. And if you can, when you rest your head on whatever prop you're going to use, if you can get your third eye, so the space between your eyebrows, to rest gently on that, then this is going to really calm your nervous system. Just gentle stimulation on that point. And then for your last pose, you're going to come all the way down onto your belly. And if you're quite bony in your hips, you can have a blanket underneath, but this is going to be a shoulder stretch. So you're just going to come, I'm going to come a little bit over to the left side and stretch my right arm out. And I want to keep this arm at that height when I come into the twist.
the tendency is, if you tighten your shoulders, for this hand to start sliding down, and then you're not getting the same amount of stretching into the connective tissue and around the shoulder joint. So I'm going to keep that arm up. I'm going to use this other hand, and I'm going to push so that I roll towards this extended right arm. And straight away, you're going to feel it in the front of this right shoulder and into your chest. So you can stay here. If you want less, if you want to feel less, bend your knees and that rocks you out of it a little bit. If you want to feel more because you're not really feeling anything, and again, it's not about feeling the biggest sensation in yin, because you're going to stay here. If you do that at first, it's going to all become too intense and you won't be able to stay still. So from here, if you want to do more, you can take that top leg and bring that foot behind you, and maybe take this top arm behind you as well. So there's lots of different options with this one, but you need to have your head on the floor so that you can relax down the weight of your head down through the floor. Relax your right shoulder, relax your left shoulder, and just think about your breath and being still and quiet. So again, pause the video, start your timer, at least 5 minutes if you've got that time in this pose, and then slowly come out, and you're going to switch to the other side. So I'm not going to do that side, but you're just going to stretch the left leg out, roll back over to that side, and then when you're finished both sides, you're going to roll all the way onto your back if you've got time, and just take as long as you've got, really. I used to be really bad at skipping Shavasana, this pose at the end, and it's the most important pose. This is when you integrate everything that you've done in your body. So please don't skip it, even if you only give yourself a minute or two. Just let yourself completely surrender and get really, really heavy, and let all of the back of your body drop down. And then the front of your body can just be light. Your breath, let go of any control of your breath, and rest. And then when you're ready, just going to slide your knees up, roll to your left, pause for a couple of breaths, and then press into your hands and come all the way back up. And then you can step back into your day, sort of back into reality. But I hope that you get some benefit and it helps you to relax, and it helps you to start to release some tension and find out just a little bit more about what's going on in your body. We're different every time we get on the mat, but in terms of patterns of tension, they're pretty much the same, whatever that is for you. So it might be in your shoulders or your hips or your stomach or your neck or your head that you hold tension. But hopefully you're going to start to find all that out for yourself. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.